Why do Homo sapiens value scarcity? Neanderthals made cave art. They buried their dead with flowers. Their brains were slightly larger than ours. They thrived in Europe for 200,000 years. Then we arrived, and in 5,000 years, they were gone. For over a century, we assumed that we must have been smarter, more evolved. The recent science says otherwise. Their tools were just as sophisticated as ours. They were capable of art, symbolic thought, and very possibly grief. Every conventional explanation for why we outcompeted them, better tools, better weapons, better brains. The cutting edge academic answer today is we were generalist specialists. We succeeded because we succeeded. That is circular logic with a PhD attached to it. The actual answer might be a single gene. By the end of this video, you'll understand the full 160,000 year chain it triggered, from a beach in Morocco to gold vaults to a permanently finite digital ledger. Let's jump in. This is a picture of the Maltraviso cave in Spain. On its walls, there are handprints pressed into red ochre. In 2024, researchers confirmed those handprints are 66,000 years old. Our species didn't arrive in Europe until roughly 45,000 years ago. Those hands belong to Neanderthals. So if the standard explanations don't hold, what actually does? One difference shows up clearly in the archaeological record. Homo sapiens collected seashells and fashioned them into beads and jewellery. And for what we've seen, Neanderthals didn't do this. In 2021, archaeologists excavated a cave in Morocco and found 33 small shell beads dated to 142,000 years ago. In just 2 decades, our understanding of how long humans have done this has doubled. Anthropology's explanation? People liked fashion. They wanted to express their identity to strangers. Jesse Myers, a neuroscientist turned economist and author of Once in a Species, which is the research this video is based on, makes a sharper argument. In a world of sticks and stones, a perfect shell is rare, difficult to replicate, and costly to produce. This is exactly the object a society turns into money. Austrian economists identified the exact process by which a commodity becomes money, the same chain repeated throughout history. A rare item is valued by a small group. It becomes a collectible. The broader society recognizes it has market value. It becomes a store of value. People start offering it as a payment. It becomes a medium of exchange. Everything is priced in it. It becomes the unit of account. Nick Szabo's research in Shelling Out shows that shell bead necklaces were used to transfer wealth for injury compensation, tribute, peacemaking, and even marriage. The world's first financial instrument. The question is, why were we compelled to create it when Neanderthals weren't? It's all about a gene. In 2022, a team published a paper in Science identifying a single amino acid change in modern humans that doesn't exist in Neanderthals, Denisovans, or apes. The gene is called HTKTL1. It stimulates greater neuron production in a very specific part of the brain, the outer layers of the frontal lobe. This region is responsible for what we call abstract thought, the areas that pull information from across the brain and convert it into new ideas. Every living human carries this version. No archaic human species did. The mutation itself most likely occurred between 300,000 and 160,000 years ago, the latter date being when mitochondrial Eve, our most recent common ancestor, is estimated to have lived. The oldest shell beads we found date to 142,000 years ago, shortly after the mutation window closes. Jesse's hypothesis? By overdeveloping the brain regions wired for abstract thought, this gene supercharged the fascination with rare, scarce objects. Neanderthals had the basic capacity, hence the occasional art, the one example of shell beads, but they lacked the compulsion. We couldn't help ourselves. A perfect shell, and we pocketed it every time. And this is where the biology connects directly to civilization, because there's also the coordination problem. In 1992, Robin Dunbar published research showing that humans can maintain stable relationships with roughly 150 people. Dunbar's number, the natural cognitive limit before a social group becomes unmanageable. In a barter system with 150 people, there are 11,175 individual relationships to track. The group has to collectively remember who owes what to whom. Beyond 150, those mental ledgers collapse, and without a transactional medium, relations between tribes default to one outcome: violence. This was the ceiling that Neanderthals never broke through. Money removes the mental ledger entirely. Transactions settle at the moment of exchange, and the same mechanism that works between individuals works between entire tribes, enabling tribute, trade, alliances, and ultimately peace. The result, documented by Mellors and French in Science 2011, when Homo sapiens moved into areas previously held by Neanderthals, they supported 10 times the population density on the same territory, not with better weapons, but with better coordination made possible by the concept of money. Every time two monetary systems have come into contact throughout history, the harder, scarcer money wins. In one of Jesse's examples, European traders discovered that certain African tribes valued glass beads as money. They sent word to Venice. Venetian glassmakers produced those beads cheaply and shipped them south. The tribes, unaware that the glass beads could be mass-produced elsewhere, had their accumulated wealth absorbed almost immediately. Gold emerged roughly 6,000 years ago, following the Varna culture's advances in metallurgy in the Danube Valley. Its physical scarcity was unmatched by any other asset at that point in history. That single advantage drove its adoption as the dominant monetary standard globally. But physical scarcity has a ceiling. Mining technology improves, new deposits are found, the total supply of gold is finite in practice, but it has never been mathematically guaranteed. The digital age changed that equation. For the first time in human history, it became possible to build a supply cap written into code, one that no individual, institution, or government can alter. Bitcoin was deliberately designed to do exactly this. It solves gold's physical limitations while completing what our species has been searching for across 142,000 years of monetary history. We're 17 years into its existence. On the timeline we just discovered, this transition has barely started. A single gene mutation sometime between 300,000 and 160,000 years ago amplified the brain regions responsible for abstract thought. That made us crave scarce things. That craving bootstrapped the concept of money. Money unlocks civilization. Societies have always upgraded to harder, scarcer money. Gold dominated for 6,000 years. The digital age made absolute scarcity possible for the first time. Understanding this doesn't just explain gold, the monetization of real estate, and Bitcoin. It gives you a lens on the current monetary transition that almost nobody around you carries. Not because you found a trend, but because you understand the biology that lies beneath it. If this helps you, subscribe for more weekly deep dives, and you can see this video here where I go through what money actually is. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.